Welcome to Byte of Science, your tiny bite of big ideas. All right, today we're sinking our teeth into a question that's, well, it's on pretty much everyone's plate.
So the big question, animal or plant protein, which one is truly better for you? I mean, you hear these really strong opinions everywhere, right? From the guy at the gym to the latest headline. But you know what? The actual science tells a story that's way more nuanced and honestly, way more fascinating than just a simple this versus that fight. So to get it right, we've got to start at the beginning.
All right, first up, to really get to the bottom of this whole debate, we've actually got to rewind the clock a bit and figure out how we even started talking about protein quality in the first place.
So, for a long time, when scientists talked about quality, it was a purely technical, biochemical thing. It was all about these little guys called essential amino acids, or EAAs for short. Think of them as the 9 crucial building blocks for your body that you have to get from food, because you can't make them yourself. So back then, a protein was labeled high quality if it did 2 things. 1, it gave you all 9 of those EAAs, and 2, your body could digest and use it really easily.
Okay, so with that very specific, very technical definition, the scoreboard was pretty simple. Animal proteins, we're talking meat, eggs, dairy, they were basically crowned the champions, high quality. Why? Well, because they have all 9 of those essential amino acids in proportions that are a lot like our own bodies. And plant proteins, they often got slapped with the low quality or incomplete label simply because they might be a little low in 1 or 2 of those EAAs.
But here's the thing, that low quality label, it's kind of a myth, or at least it's really misleading. The solution is something that sounds fancy, protein complementation, but it's so simple. Just think about pasta and beans, or rice and lentils. One food might be low in one amino acid, but the other one has plenty of it. You eat them together, you don't even have to eat them in the same meal, just over the course of the day, and boom, your body gets the complete package. Problem solved. It's really not that complicated.
Okay, but that was the old school way of thinking, right? Focused only on the building blocks. Modern science is telling us, hey, we need to zoom out. We need to look beyond just the amino acids in a lab. The real question is, what happens to our bodies when we eat these foods over a whole lifetime? And for that, we turn to massive studies that give us some seriously powerful clues in this health showdown.
And when we do look at that long-term data, wow, a really clear pattern starts to show up. This table here, it's pulled from these huge studies involving tons of people over many years. And it shows that a higher intake of red and processed meats is consistently linked to a higher risk for some major chronic diseases. We're talking about a 22% higher risk of type 2 diabetes for red meat eaters. That's not a small number.
But then, you flip the coin. When researchers look at diets that are high in plant-based proteins, the whole story just reverses. A higher intake of foods like legumes, nuts, and whole grains is actually tied to a reduced risk of those exact same conditions. I mean, look at this. A high intake of nuts is linked to a 21% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. It's a complete flip.
And get this, you don't have to completely overhaul your entire life to see a real effect. One landmark study found that just replacing 3% of daily calories from animal protein with plant protein, just 3%, was associated with a 10% lower risk of dying from any cause. Seriously, think about that. That is such a tiny shift on your plate for a really significant impact on your long-term health.
Now, of course, it's not totally black and white. You can't just paint all animal protein with the same brush. Some sources have really unique benefits. Fish, for example, is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which are absolutely crucial for your heart and your brain. And then you have something like eggs where the data is just all over the place. Some studies point to risks, others say they're neutral or even good for you. So yeah, the overall picture, it's complex.
But you know, our personal health is only half of the story. If we're really going to redefine what quality protein means here in the 21st century, we have to talk about another factor that is just as critical, and that is the health of our planet.
Okay, let's start with the carbon footprint. We're talking greenhouse gas emissions. And the difference here is, it's just staggering. To produce a single kilogram of protein from beef, you're looking at over 25 kilograms of CO2 pumped into the atmosphere. Now, compare that to pork, which is down around 6, and then look way down at legumes. They're barely over 1 kilogram. The scale is just completely different.
And the story is just as dramatic, if not more so, when we look at land use. Try to picture this. That same kilogram of beef protein requires over 300 square meters of land. For pork, you're down to about 20. And for a kilogram of protein from legumes, you need less than 10 square meters. It's not even a close race. The efficiency of plant-based protein is just on another level entirely.
There was one study that put it so bluntly, the numbers are they're jaw-dropping. It says, to produce 1 kilogram of protein from kidney beans required approximately 18 times less land, 10 times less water, and 9 times less fuel, compared to producing that same kilogram of protein from beef. 18 times less land. That's not a small difference. That is the true full footprint of our food choices.
So, okay, we have all this data swirling around, our personal health, the planet's health. How on earth do we make sense of it all? Well, there's this really brilliant and elegant model that pulls it all together perfectly. It's called the double pyramid.
Okay, so let me break this down for you. It's super clever. The model has 2 pyramids. The first one is the classic food pyramid you've probably seen before. At the wide base are the foods we should eat the most of for our health: fruits, veggies, whole grains. Now, the second pyramid is an environmental pyramid, and it's flipped upside down. At its wide top are the foods with the lowest environmental impact. And what's at the top? The very same foods, plants. So you get this perfect mirror image. What's best for you is also what's best for the planet. It's this beautiful alignment.
And this quote from the research just nails it. It says, 2 different but equally relevant goals, people's health and environmental protection, fit into one single food model. Think about that. The diet that's best for us is literally the diet that's best for the planet. The goals aren't fighting each other, they're one and the same. All right, so after diving into all this science on our bodies and on the planet, what's the big takeaway? What does this mean for our own plates day to day?
It really boils down to a simple 3-step shift in how we think. First, let's redefine quality. It's not just about amino acids anymore. It's about long-term health and sustainability too. Second, we start prioritizing more plant-rich foods because now we know they give us that incredible 2-for-1 benefit. And finally, and this part is so important, remember that this is not an all-or-nothing game. You don't have to be perfect. A flexitarian approach, just shifting the balance a little bit on your plate, can make a world of difference.
And that really leaves us with one final thought, something to chew on. If the diet that's best for our personal health is also the diet that's best for the health of our planet, what does your next meal look like? Liked that bite? Make sure you subscribe for more science in small bites. And remember, science is always better when it's shared, so don't forget to like, share, and bite again.